Books. Which is a local micro press in Miami. We publish Miami-based authors. It's kind of a niche that we have. All of our books are set in Miami by Miami writers. To date, we have 18 books in print. Most of them are at this bookstore in here. I think 15 authors, only fiction and nonfiction. We don't really deal with poetry so much. Short story collections we'll take, memoirs, things like that. We've been around for like 5, 6, 7 years. I'm a publisher. This book, Comanche PI, is our 18th book, and the main book that will be published. So far, the only book that we're publishing this year is Comanche PI. And I am here to introduce the author of Comanche PI. We're sitting right here, Pedro Medina Leon. Also, the translator of this book, who is sitting right next to Pedro, who's Abel Folgar. And before I introduce them, I was just going to say just like a little bit, just how this book came to be birthed. It's a while. This has been one of the hardest and longest books that we've published, at least me, at least the process of it, right? So maybe about 18 months ago, I want to say like September, August of 2023, Pedro came to me and he said, I have a book and I'd like to publish it on Jitney. It's written in Spanish. It's already been published in Spanish, but it's really good. I want to cross over to a more English audience. It's a noir book, a hard-boiled detective book. It's very gritty. I'd love to publish it with you at the Jitney. And I was like, awesome. I know Pedro. I know his work. I've published one of his books before called Tor, which is here. And I was like, awesome. We just, we need a translator. It wasn't written in Spanish. And I was like, I can't translate it. I don't speak Spanish that well, or at all. So I was like, let me work on getting a translator. And I kind of put like feelers out. And I had worked previously on a translation. Abel in 2018 came to me with a book called Juegos de Chicos. That was written in Spanish by an Argentinian sports journalist named Facundo Sotos?
He's here, that book also.
He's also here, and Abel had translated that book, which was about a transsexual soccer team in Argentina. It was a very, very progressive book.
That's not allowed anymore to say that.
No, we can't say that word. I'm gonna say it. It's gay. We can say it. And so, I don't know, we put one and one together. We got, Abel has translation skills. Pedro had a book in Spanish that needed to be translated in English. So at the Miami Book Fair in 2023, I asked Abel, I remember the whole thing was very serendipitous. Pedro was there, and it was like, we were all hanging out. It was kind of like crossing paths, whatever, like boats in the night. And Abel said he would do it. And Pedro was like, oh, yay. And I was like, yay. And then, then it began, and then I sent Abel the script, and then it took time. It was a big script, it took a while. It took time translating a book. I want to say it was the book you can see right now is 363 pages. The book that we actually published in English. The manuscript, it was a lot. There were 3 parts. I don't want to spoil it too much, but this is the premise of the book. Comanche is this private investigator who is just basically solves crimes that the Miami Beach Police Department don't want to solve on their own. Crimes that they don't want to attract media, right? He's a private investigator known to be hired by the Miami Beach Police to solve crimes that they kind of want to outsource. So he's a PI. And the book, it's written in 3 parts. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3 is basically solving, it's like a hard-boiled detective mystery noir book. He's just solving 3 crimes on Miami Beach. So Abel, and I think this book is as much, even though Pedro wrote it, and obviously it's his book, it's his characters, it's his intellectual property, it's his imagination that constructed this world, this universe, the characters, the story, the plot, obviously, the mystery, but I feel like it is this version of it is as much Abel's book as it is Pedro's book, in terms of the amount of work that Abel did, taking the Spanish and translating it into English. I happen to be familiar with Pedro's writing voice and Abel's writing voice, and Abel's writing voice is all over this translation. And I mean that in a good way. Abel is trained as a journalist, has been, writing in Miami, like journalism for 25, 26 years. And he punches up like copy, and it's really crisp and fast and good. And to do that from Spanish to English and put it in English, you know, I really think this book is as much as Pedro's as it is Abel's. You know, I'm sorry, as much as it is Abel's as it is Pedro's, and which is the truth. You know, and then the translated part started to come to me, like in part 1, part 2, part 3, like kind of in as much time as Abel had to translate the book, because it took time. You know, it takes a lot of time, and we're all busy. They have families. We all have full-time jobs. You know, there's really not a lot of money in this at all. You know, and so as part 1, part 2, part 3 came in, then I edited it. I kind of edited it all and put it all together. And it was tricky, I would imagine, for Abel, and I know it was for me to get back into the universe of Comanche, you know, as it was coming in part 1, part 2, part 3, and then to put it all together for the book that you have.
Did you ever read it in Spanish?
No, I don't know.
It's the 4th book of Comanche. All of them are in Spanish. There's also one unpublished book in Spanish, but there are 4 books. So this one was like, it's completely. I completely agree with JJ when he says that it's his voice. You know, I'm the creator, right? Yeah, it's his voice, because as we were speaking before JJ came, when you asked how was the translation, I first had an approach. You remember, JJ, when we spoke about this translation a while ago, before getting in touch with Abel, I told you there's a translator who approached me for doing the translation, and when he started sending me the first chapters,
It wasn't your
the voice.
Right.
The voice. I don't pretend to
wasn't
find my
Comanche.
voice in the book.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I need to feel that those characters are in the same way or in the same path. I need to be reflected in that book, and that's. I'm sorry, I interrupt you completely.
No, what do you mean? It's your night. It's your book. You're good.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that's I.
So, are we going with the question and answer before the?
No. We're going back.
No.
Let me take a step back, and the way we're going to do, let me formally introduce them and have them kind of talk. You know, we never really quite don't know who they are, and we haven't written out biographies for both of them.
Yeah.
So starting with Pedro. Pedro Medina Leon is a Florida Book Award-winning author, born in Lima, Peru. He's sitting right here. Pedro Medina Leon is the author of the fiction books Tomorrow I Will Not See You, in Miami, Marginal, and Vasovia, which won the Florida Book Award in 2017, which is a pretty big deal. He's also the author of Tour. It's a book of essays and short chronicles of Miami's popular culture. Pedro is also the creator and editor of the cultural portal Cerebano Editions. I just have it all translated. Where they publish Spanish language novels and blog posts covering arts and culture. Pedro also really loves soccer, and he's known to be a heck of a dad. It's his dad. Sitting right next to Pedro is the incomparable, born the same year as Pedro, 1977. Abel M. What does M stand for, sir? Machete. Abel Machete Folgar.
I'm Machete, but I'll take it.
Machete.
Machete, loco.
Machete.
A
It's
machete.
my sheriff.
Yeah, Machete. Abel Machete.
Is a poet from Caracas, Venezuela, of Lebanese and Corsican heritage. This is his bio. He's the co-author of Odas a Futbolistas, did I say that right?
Yeah.
And the translator of Facundo Soto's Juego de Chicos. Abel is also one of the best music journalists in South Florida. His articles on art, music, and food have appeared across the New Times, Village Voice family of publications, Pure Honey magazine, and numerous print and digital entities since 1999. Like Pedro, Abel also really loves soccer and is rumored to be a heck of a dad. So let's get this as the moderator. Like let's get this baby kicked off.
You want to sit here between us?
Sure. You want me to?
So
Yeah,
we'll play
yeah.
nice.
Okay.
It's your water.
Okay. We got it.
Friend.
Pedro, tell us about this universe that you constructed.
Yeah. Well, thank you, JJ. Thank you, Abel. All the job, the work that we did with this book was amazing. So first of all, thank you very much. Thank you for opening me the door once again of the Jitney, because we already published tour, and remember that this is our second baby. So thank you again, and thank you all of you for coming on Sunday at 7 p.m. I think it's tough, and thank you very much for being here. Well, as I was explaining before, this is the fourth book, and I also have one book that is not being published yet about this character, Comanche. Well, these books are defined as noir books or crime fiction books, and when I think about crime fiction or noir literature, I think for me it's a sort of
But he has nervous tics, don't worry about it.
for me, noir, it's sort of criticism to society, more than these books, the universe that I've created with these books, more than being books of clues or cliffhangers between one chapter and another, mystery. Yeah, of course they have clues, mystery, whatever, but they mostly are a portrait of the marginal or the underworld of Miami Beach, and I will say the Latin American world of Miami Beach. Miami, it's many cities under one name, which is Miami. You have the Anglo Miami, you have the Latin Miami. And the Latin Miami, it's a very particular Miami because it's a Miami that it's divided into communities, and communities have a lot of similarities, but they have a lot of differences between each other. There's a lot of culture clash between them, and that's for me the concept or the idea of this universe of these four books, that all the characters are basically the same. All the books are all the stories are set in Miami Beach or in Little Havana. Of course, Comanche is in the four books, and most of the characters you will see them if in this book, I don't know, El Cara de Jeva, which is one character of the book, is one of the main characters in this book. Maybe in the other book is going to be like a secondary character or something like that. So it's a universe. It's a universe, and the main purpose of these noir books, let's say, is to portray the marginal or the underworld of Miami. For me, that's I really enjoy reading books, noir books, but not that type of noir books that have, as I explained, a lot of mystery, a lot of clues. No. I love to read the books that show or portray the grittiness, the underworld of the cities, and that's basically what all this universe is about. The first book of this was Varsovia. That book won the Florida Book Award. Then we have Americana. Then we have Bandidos, and then this title in Spanish is El Blues del Comanche, and now it's in English is Comanche PI, Comanche Private Investigator. And these are three stories that are connected. Yeah, it's a novel. The three stories are connected, but are three different cases.
So it's not.
No, go ahead.
No, dale.
It's not three separate short stories.
No.
It's three stories of three individual protagonists that blend together into one.
Yeah. You have three independent stories.
Can I jump in real quick?
Dale.
I'd say it's got like that typical. I mean, I wasn't acquainted with low background with the other books before I took this on, and deliberately I didn't read them before I worked on this, just because I didn't want to
Smart.
get too many things in my brain because I don't want to overthink. But when I started on it, one of the first things that popped up was like, there's some things that I can tell here that the person who wrote this is, like myself, new to Miami in a sense, because we both came here when we were a little older. He came here when he was 22. I moved here when I was 15. And so there's some things that I was like, this guy, like, he didn't like grow up Miami, but like he knows Miami, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I like about the book is it's the typical Miami thing where like everybody knows each other, right? Everybody gets caught up in things. And so like if you look at like the three parts of it, like that's what it is. It's a bunch of people that are, you know, you go to a party, like, oh, I know that guy, right?
Yeah.
Well, how do you know so and so? Well, I don't know. I did coke with him in a bathroom like 10 years ago. Like that kind of
I was
nonsense.
gonna say,
right?
do the characters say bro?
Miami. There are some bros.
That's Miami.
Yes. but his Miami is like these like Latinos who haven't gotten like that kind of like language yet.
Yeah, they are. Remember, this is, and this I think that, and you will.
We're two different kinds of Latinos to begin with.
No, then you'll
What do
answer
you
that.
mean?
Well, he's Peruvian, I'm Venezuelan.
Abel just said something I think that was striking. Like, so the characters in this story, and this is where I think this book is a little bit different. They're kind of like they just sort of got here, meaning like they're not like that acclimated to America. They're not second generation Americans.
No, not at all.
You
Not at
know,
all.
and I think
the
that
second year, second month living here.
Been here a week.
Comanche, the PI, is of that same cloth and vein. Like he sort of just got here.
He's not native.
No, he's not native.
No, he's not native. He's not native.
So his world is not the world that is of the ivory tower.
No.
It's more of like or front of the house. It's more like who's washing the dishes, who's.
Yeah, those are the characters. People who are in the kitchens, people in the alleyways, people deliveries.
17 Argentinians living in one efficiency.
Yeah. People. All the characters live in inefficiencies in South Beach. Yeah, for example, let's say one of the. I'm not gonna spoil the story, but the book opens with Gregorio Lizárraga, one of the characters who was a cashier of la taquería La Chismosa. He was killed, and he wanted to be a writer, but he was a cashier. That's the you know, he was living in a bar, and no, I'm not gonna tell who did
You
it.
said you were going to spoil it.
No. But this is the universe of the stories of Comanche, right? These guys were working. You have a question?
Whenever you're done.
Okay. These guys work. This guy worked as a cashier in La Chismosa, and he went to the bar because he was friends with one of the guys who was in charge of washing the dishes. So that's the universe of this or the environment of these people. And bringing up something that you mentioned that was really interesting for me, and I thought that was going to be a challenge for Abel when he translated the book, and I was really nervous when I received the first release, because beings, they are Latins. You know, we Latins, we all speak with different slangs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think one of the things that my Hispanic readers they like the most of my books is that if you're Argentinian, if the characters are Argentinian, there's a che, or if they are Venezuelans.
Sure.
Yeah, and how do you do that in English? You have no way to do that in English, right? But this master here, I don't know what he did. Not everybody sounds
I
real.
know too many Latinos.
But it was.
How did you get into his voice, into his universe, and then so quickly like kung fu it out until the
I don't know how you did it.
I like how he just said like the Showtime of the Apollo hook. You're done. What was the question?
You have a question?
How did you take his universe?
You should take that question.
Yeah, the question is just real quick. Since you are going through a Latino PI, I'm guessing there's a lot of family involvement, because I'm pretty sure almost every Latino that's come to Miami has had the mentality of, oye chico, vente para acá.
Yeah.
You know, like we've had
Yeah, you know
we have
what?
abuelitas cooking.
No, yeah.
Funny you should say
No,
that.
but here's something. It's something interesting. They don't have their own family per se, but they get together to watch the soccer game, or they get together to cook. They create their own families, like a lot of immigrants.
Because the family, like, he means it's more like we're going to send money back home. Type of thing.
Yeah, they're working for sending money back.
These are not people who have gotten like their families here.
Yeah. There's, I don't know, it's a character who just came here with 25 years, and then he meets another guy in the taqueria, and there he meets another guy in the bar.
Without
And
spoiling anything, the love interest, who's more rooted in Miami, she has family. La prima, you know. So there's more of like that type of like.
Yeah.
So like you do kind of get like the two versions of things where you have like people who just got here, they make a family of their own. 'Cause, you know, they're all friends that they work in these like, you know, food places.
A lot of immigrants, not only Latins, I guess, but a lot of immigrants that don't have family, not only here in Miami, anywhere, they create their own families with friends of in the job that they met, and this. But there's a lot of this. It's if Comanche is in South Beach solving a case, he's always with Karina, with this guy from there's a bar, Al Capone, Skinny, who is the guy who is the guy who works in the motel or in the hotel or
The
motel.
flop house, call it what it is.
Yeah, I don't see that crappy place where these guys live, you know.
Ching chat.
Yeah, the guy who lived, the lady, the cleaning lady of
La cara de trapo.
yeah, the cleaning lady of the hotel is a cara de trapo, is a mop face, you know. So, and yeah, you have they're like a family. And if this guy Comanche is solving a case here in Little Havana, he stays at a hotel or a motel, which is the Sweet Dreams, and he's always cooking in his house
like
because he loves to cook.
That's like a month to month that he stays at.
Yeah, a month to month.
That's a month to month.
And he loves to cook. In South Beach, he doesn't has he has no space to cook, but in Little Havana, he has a small place in his motel where he can cook, and he always has his friend El Cara de Jeva, El Yankee, El Cara de Jeva, El Yankee, Clarita. They are always Sunday dinners. He like Blue Bloods, they have their Sunday dinners, but this guy Comanche is doing
his own little,
he's
little
cooking.
nucleus of
Yeah, they have their family. You have a question?
Yeah, I was gonna say because you are obviously bilingual. I mean, you do you dream in English? Do you dream in Spanish?
No, it's weird because we were I was
dreaming in
this
Quechua.
Yeah, I dream
You dream in Quechua?
in Italian. I dream
No, mentira.
No. It's funny because I came here 23 years ago, something like that. I did all my education at school. It was a school from here, but in Peru. It was I studied almost all the courses, all the classes in English. I sing the U.S. anthem instead of the Peruvian anthem Monday, and it was a Catholic school, and I pray Hail Mary, full of I have like very solid base of English, but it's not yeah, I'm bilingual.
What do you speak at home?
No, not at all.
What do you speak at home? Spanish or English?
Spanish. Yeah, and I speak almost entire day Spanish, but it's weird because when I need to take a note fast, my first is English because I like, I don't know, it's faster for me. It's more
muscle memory from school.
so it's and when I'm driving, for example, I'm thinking of something and I'm thinking in English a lot of times, and I have to read. I started reading in Spanish all 2024 because I was only reading books in English. So I'm kind of weird animal, I guess.
No, I think many of us are this weird. That's why I asked you, what do you dream in? Because I'm fully bilingual. But I read in English. I could translate my own things, but
no, I can't translate my things.
Oh.
No, I don't know if I
think
can.
you could. I think you
I
could.
don't know if I can't translate because are mine. Because maybe if you give me a piece of short story or whatever, I may translate your thing, but I can't write in English for myself, or I can't write. But yeah, ultimately I've been writing some articles for the Jitney in English, and when I get the feedback from Davey, who's back there, I think it's good, right? It's small fixes to the article. So
check it out. Look them out. Go to jitneybooks.com.
So what was your question for me?
Well, yeah, I'd love to talk about the book, man, and the plot, and well, from translating it into the universe that he created. Like, how did you like get into his voice so that it can just come out so quickly?
I
And
got this, Rafi, I'll take it from here.
yeah, man.
So when I met him, you know, we just had a conversation, and the first thing I was like, oh, he's Peruvian. Okay, so like my two best friends when I moved here are both Peruvian, so like I know the people, right? But I didn't want that to be like in my brain, especially when I started reading the book. It's like, oh, these are like Latinos from everywhere. So I read the book twice before I started doing anything, just to like kind of see what it was about. And then that's when I realized, like, oh, this guy is like, this is like his fourth book. This is like, we're looking at the artist at the middle of his career, right? This is the retrospective that we're doing. And you know, he's just, I haven't read the other books, so I didn't have like context for what to do. I just took it for what it was. I was like, all right, I know what this guy is. He is on the fringe. He doesn't do things by the book. He's a bit of a womanizer. He's got a little bit of a taste for nose candy. He works with cops. He lives in a flop house, so his clothes probably stink. And then I just took it from there. You know, like I didn't try to like how he mentioned the thing with the other guy with the suitcase. I just took it out of face value. It's like, I don't have to punch this up. Like, I don't have to make this glitzy, you know? And it was just easy from that, because it's like, it's the street language. Like, I already knew it, because
Like,
like
you
I
know
said,
the streets of Miami. The other translator was from Missouri.
but I had the advantage over that guy.
Yeah.
That I play soccer and pick up games around.
I know, yeah.
And where these people are insulting me all the time. I'm too fat, I'm too slow, I'm too bald, or whatever. So like I have that in my head already. So like that part helped. And the also like the conversational tone of the book is it was just quick. So
Yeah.
it was like once you like I got into it, I know that we were working like little batches, mostly because you know life's in the way and whatnot. So like what I would do like the first part, yeah, I'd be like in that, you know, swing of things and then stop to JJ. But then to hop back in, like it wasn't too much of a shock.
No,
It's
no,
like,
it was-
I
it
go
was
back,
simple.
you know, reread like over a couple pages from the previous chapter, and then just hop right in. So like that part was easy. Like
And what do you think was I always want to ask you, what do you think was the most challenging thing of doing a translation of this book?
to be honest with you, trying to figure out where he was from.
Where
I
you
don't
at?
know even.
That's the thing. Like I couldn't pinpoint it because I was.
I
like,
don't know
"Ah."
where he's.
And you know what was funny? Because after like I translated it, when I was done, one of the things that stood up to me was like the whole carne con papas thing,
Yeah.
and I was like, carne con papas, like, what the fuck? Yeah, like it's such a.
Carne con papa.
It's delicious. I get it, but there was something that stuck with me because I was like, why are we making such a big deal about this fucking stew?
No,
Right?
no, no.
Because it's con papa.
I'm sure it's delicious,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you why in a minute.
Yeah.
So when I'm done with it, I kept thinking like carne con papas. Like, what's such a big deal? Like we're gonna go eat carne con papa, carne con papa. And I was like, this is just a guiso that anybody can do. And then I remembered after the reason why it stuck with me. I have a friend who's Peruvian, who years ago we were on a bender, and he had gotten like he'd been talking to like some Cubans, and I guess the word people stuck with him. And we were talking, and like every fourth word out of his damn mouth was people this and people that. And it was driving me bananas. And for some reason, the carne con papas thing was the people thing. And I was like, it's a Peruvian thing. These Peruvians grab one thing. Because I associate la carne con papa with more of like a Caribbean thing.
No, but it's more Cuban.
Right, well, but like I don't associate it with Peruvians. I mean, you might have it in your culinary arts. I've never had it.
Yeah.
So like that's still the association.
Yeah.
And when I grew up in Venezuela, like I never ate that because in my house we ate all the other shit. You know, like it was just a hodgepodge. So like that was the people thing, and I was like, that's what it was. So like that's like the thing that stuck with me, and then I was like, that's why like I was thinking like he's not Cuban.
Yeah.
He's a different-
I don't even know where he's from.
Did you change anything when in the original story?
No.
Were you looking at like one and then just go like kind of like not
For a
transfer?
fast one?
No, like when you were like, were you like, did you have the book open on one screen and then another screen? You were
Oh,
just,
yeah, the screens are the best.
is that what you did?
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah,
No,
two
estaba
screens.
trabajando. Entonces tenía la dos pantallas. Yeah, it just means it's easier, you know, just to like.
Yeah, can you describe the actual process of translation? It strikes me as a real heavy lift.
No,
Right? I mean-
no. Because you know what? Like once I got into it, you know, like it was just like it's quick. You
So,
know, like,
but was it on paper? Was it on screen? Did you?
no, you know what? The problem with the paper is that my handwriting has
Right.
gotten so terrible
Yeah, sure, I understand.
that if I make notes, I come back later and I go, I don't know what that is. So I just don't. So I just did typing, nice and easy. I would, block out a couple, hours during the day just to like type.
So you would have like one screen was
Yeah.
the
So like I
text,
had like
and the other was the
in front of me what I was typing out, and then on the right, his manuscript, and then I would just go line by line.
Would you line by line, like sentence by sentence, not like paragraph by
Well,
paragraph?
no,
or-
it depends because like when it was the conversation, the way like if you look at the book visually, like there's a lot of like areas where like you can see like oh, it's a dialogue, but then you have these like huge blocks. When I would get to those blocks, then it would be more of like let me read ahead, see where we're going with this, because we do things backwards in Spanish a lot of times, so you have to kind of like be ahead.
And
Also, nobody was yelling at me to get it done in a timely fashion, so I could take my time.
No, and I think the only thing that I changed back was with this guy drinks fiesta. Right?
Yeah.
Fiesta for the Comanche is rum and coke.
It's like a version of the rum and coke.
but his
The
own version.
measurements are
His
different.
own version, and he calls it fiesta. I'm gonna make a fiesta. Or do you want a fiesta? Yeah. And when he sent and he put rum and coke. No. It has to be fiesta in Spanish. So,
The ignorance of not knowing
yeah, this guy drinks fiesta in Spanish.
Because at first I was like, hey, no one else doing rum and coke.
Yeah, no, rum and coke.
That's a Cuba Libre, homeboy.
But